how was your experiences like at that time? Because that's a time where, you know, like tabloids, you know, now you have, you know, you have trolls and social media and gossip pages, but this is at a time where tabloids were writing anything they wanted.
Listen,
you know,
literally anything. Like, I think that was definitely the thing that made me fall out of love with being super famous. There was a period of my time where I was really famous and I could go to the corner shop. There was one time I went to Alton Towers and it was in the papers. And I'm like, what's that? Like, why is that news? And for me, like, as I said, I still to this day, I enjoy being able to go back to my cocoon and not be Jamelia. But I also, sorry, I keep knocking this mic, man. Sorry.
no, it's all right.
I also enjoy going to work and being Jamelia. But when you are encroaching on people who haven't chosen to be in the public eye, people who, you know, just my loved ones and, you know, my family members and stuff, like, you have to remember, I'm from inner city Birmingham. So we all face, you know, we're as much as we love where we're from, we're all victims of our circumstances as well. You know,
100%.
there's a lot of trauma in the community, and well, I'll just say it like it is. For instance, like my brother's going to prison and stuff like that. Like, these are very real things that are happening behind the scenes, and these are people that I love. Do you know what I mean? And yes, and in the hood, it's normal for a family member, and rightly or wrongly, it's normal for a family member to go to prison. What's not normal is that you get splashed on the paper, that is splashed all over the papers, or when you're trying to go and visit, you're getting papped, and you know, and your kids are in the pictures, or I don't know, those kind of things. I felt like it was a real invasion of privacy, and it deeply affected my relationship, particularly with my brothers. Like, and you know, if there's a casualty of all of this, it's definitely my personal relationship with my family. And for me, it's kind of like the decisions that I had to make was, I'm going to step back so that you don't get dragged into this. But at the same time, I sacrifice relationships that have been my foundation. Do you know what I mean? And that's definitely been really, really hard. And, you know, and I think that's why I pour so much into my little family that I've created, because it's like, well, at least I get to have this, you know, that it's with everything, there's a sacrifice. There is a sacrifice. And, you know, I remember one of the mobile awards, I invited all my brothers to come, and one of them filmed me, and I was like, yeah, big up my brothers, did it, boop, boop, boop. I was on the front of the papers. Jamelia supports gun violence, and she imitates a handgun and blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's just culture. That's what we do in a dance, but you can't explain it to people. You can't explain it to Middle England who don't do that.
Especially back then.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like, you couldn't even breathe without being like, oh, you're shouting.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just breathing, bro.
Literally. So it's kind of like, you know, it was beautiful times, and you know, and everyone has this idea, you want to bring everyone through, but the reality is like, if you really do want to be successful as a black person in this country, I'm not sure you can. And that is the saddest thing, I think, out of it all. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it all.
No, but it's so heartbreaking, because it's like, you know, it's like, for me in my career, I am like one tweet away from it all being done.
Oh yeah.
And even like, there's times where, you know, I have spoken out about certain things. You know, when everyone was putting up black squares, people are saying to me, wait, when are you gonna put up a black square? When are you gonna put up a post?
These times you are a black square. Like, I am a black square. Like, I don't don't chat to me. Like, listen, I don't know if it's because I'm approaching 40. But I just don't come to me with no foolishness in 2020. Like, just don't. Like, but this is the thing. I'm not in your position. Like, yes. I'm not. I literally have nothing to lose. Like, I'm just like, I don't care. You like and hate me.
I got my mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm fine. I've literally got a swimming pool in my back garden. I don't care.
But I think it's like, so many people always say to me, like, oh, like, you know, be careful what you say and X, Y, Z. And because I think we're so used to seeing people in our community get to a position and we're just like, I want you to stay there. But just, you know, you can't do what you want to do.
Yeah, no.
Like, him over there, he can do whatever he wants to do, bro. He'll be in the papers, doing whatever he likes. You know, you can't do that, you know?
Exactly.
It's almost like when your mum used to say to you as a kid, where it's like, go outside and wear your coat. Because he's going to get sick and get a cold. You can't afford to be sick and get a cold.
I gotta go to work. I need help.
Yeah. He can do that. His mum don't work. Dusty woman.
Exactly.
Where me, I'm sitting there like, I want to take my coat off all the other kids, my man.
No, wrap up,
scarf, gloves. I'm like, oh man, we just playing 40-40 at home, man. I can't have all this equipment on, man. While Billy's out there in a t-shirt in the rain. I said, oh, come on, man. And it's that's literally it. Yeah. And it's not where I'm out in this industry now. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be reckless and do, because I know also the pressure that comes from being in that kind of limelight. Did you ever feel like there was that pressure from the black community?
Okay, so what I will say is that throughout my years as an artist, I think my artist years and my being on TV years are two totally different eras of my own life. But like being an artist, I just felt like I have to be, for want of a better term, whiter than white. And when I say that, it meant I would never drink. I'd never do no foolishness. Like, in a way, like, it's like I wasn't able to live. So I never, people have their 20s. I never had my 20s. I'm probably just starting to have them now, maybe. But like, I just feel like, and I must point out, it was a sacrifice I was completely willing to make because I wanted to be successful. And by the time I started to think very seriously about my career, I had a daughter and I didn't want, I already wasn't with her dad. And I just kind of thought, I just don't want to become another statistic. I don't want, there's like the amount of people said to me to my face, you've got a daughter now. You can't do nothing. You've mashed up your life. And for me, that was motivation. I was like, all right, we're gonna see. I had my daughter in 2001 and I released the Thank You album in 2004, and that was the album that I'm telling you, I put my heart and soul into it. And that was the one that really exploded things for me. And it was kind of like, all right. Yeah. Like, this is it. This is it. This is exactly what I've worked for. One of the things people might not know is that when you release an album, a successful album, you're promoting it for at least 2.5 years. Wow. So, and this is another thing. A lot of people might not know that I had international success. So I was going all around the world. So
Platinum in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, you do your research. Yeah. So places like Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe. I didn't really go to America, but touring. I toured with Justin Timberlake, Usher, Destiny's Child. I toured with Destiny's Child like 5 times. I really thought Beyonce was my best friend. She's not. But anyway, I love her. Shout out Ivy Park. Please send me a box next time because it's too expensive. No, I'm joking. But yeah, the things that I got to do and the places that I got to go, my children have been to every single continent on the planet. Like, to me, that's success because I'm able to pass on things to them. If you were to meet my children, you'd just be like, nah, they're amazing. And it's because of the opportunities that I was able to afford them through my hard work. Yeah. And I kind of feel like, as much as, there are things that I'm very sad that I've sacrificed, I would sacrifice everything for my children. So it was worth it if it meant that my children get to benefit from even traveling. Like, black people, we should be traveling. Like, the amount of things I've learned from going to another person's country and immersing yourself in the culture, like that kind of education is you can't compare it to anything.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
So important.
And even for me, like, to learn, like, my daughter learned to swim in Thailand. Like, what? Yeah. Again? What?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you had told me at 12 or 11, like, something like that would happen to me, it's just like, yeah, I would, there's no way I would believe you. But, And I think where I am now in my career is, okay, how do I share this information? How do I share this? And I feel like the best way to do that is to be your authentic self. But to be your authentic self as a black woman in the UK means that I can't survive in the entertainment space that I was in, because me being honest about myself and who I am makes you feel uncomfortable. And because you're uncomfortable, you don't like me.
Yeah.
And the public don't like me. So where I am now, it's kind of like you've got to do your own thing. You've got to create your own space. And that is, it's like a really weird territory to be in. But at the same time, I've never been happier because I just feel, not only do I feel in control, but I feel like, I just don't feel like a prisoner anymore. Because that's what it feels like. I can't be myself. I can't do that, which is a cultural thing. I'm Jamaican. Like, that's what we do at every opportunity.
But sometimes I feel like those things are very disrespectful to our culture because you don't understand it. So you've already demonized it. And there's some things, you know, for other cultures that like, it's just like, oh, that's just part of their culture.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean that. But the minute I go, zap, whoop, whoop, it's already like violence, gun crime. Yeah. He's most probably a murderer. And it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, and it's I don't know, it's hard because it's like now I find what's happening with that. It's changed from like you do that and it makes the papers to now misrepresenting someone who like getting someone's picture wrong. Yeah. In the paper. Listen. Which it's gone beyond its thing where it's just like, it's just an accident. Yeah. Because if it happens every 2 months, then surely there should be someone in the HR department in the journalism building saying, guys, this is happening a lot. This now needs to happen. Because if you're an editor, you would look for typos.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
There are people whose job it is to fact check. Like, do not, and I think, again, it's about understanding what these industries are doing right now. All they want you to do is share their content. And black people, we are the best at sharing content. Yeah. You get the picture wrong, and that article is going to be shared way more. Like, it's going to be shared 1 million times more because you got the picture wrong. They don't care. They don't care why you've shared it. All they need are the numbers. Yeah, and this is the thing that we're not understanding. Like, for me, like, what happened the other day? Oh, the Sainsbury's advert, 100%. And everyone's like going mad. And for me, it was just like, I'm not even entering into this conversation. Like, I'm not even entering. Like, what? Like, everyone's racist. You lot are racist, and that's fine. Like, just you do your racist thing over there. Yeah. Because even when it comes to companies showing us, because that's all it is, using us to further their brand and say, oh, I'm diverse, it's not necessarily support for us. Because if you really were supporting us, we'd be in the meetings. We would be the ones making decisions. We would be, executives and consultants. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to pay us. You want to use us. And for me, it's kind of like, I'm not being used. I'm not even being used to share your story or your foolishness. And of course, everyone's outraged. We live in England and most of you are racist. Okay. Moving on, what we doing? Do you know what I mean?
I think there is definitely something in black outrage because the first time I ever got mistaken for someone else, at first it's funny. Yeah. Where I think I've told you before, but I was on I went to the Enemy Awards, first time ever. Okay. And they've mistaken me for Marcel from Love Island. So
it's not that hard.
It's not at all. It's definitely not. But the funniest thing is, I had a picture of Marcel from Love Island and said Mo Gilligan and Clara Amfra, right? So this is very early on where this is at a stage where it's just like Marcel is like at that time is like massively much more well known than I ever was. So it's like, how did you get that wrong? Like I took a picture as well. So the fact that you go upstairs in some of these award shows and they're doing pictures. So I'm like, what doesn't make sense here is that I took a picture in this same photo booth that Marcel and Clara did. So how you've got this wrong doesn't even make sense now. Because someone could be listening and be like, well, you're both there. And they're like, who's who? And I'm like, well, no, because when you go in there, how's it going, Matt? Mo Gilligan, right? Yeah. Yeah, if you get a couple pictures. I gave out an award that night. So,
yeah, they take the mic.
So it's not like I just walked in. Yeah. Well, can I get a picture? Flex. I can understand how you could mistake, but it's like, I gave out an award. There was a purpose person that said, I do the PR. We're going to put this in a magazine.
And they've got the little sheet of paper with all the little pictures 100%. Of everyone, with everyone's names beside it.
And it's just
it's not a game.
It's not. And I think at first it was easy to just laugh it off. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Like, and I did. I very much laughed it off. I remember tweeting it and was like, okay, cool. In this week's What Black Person Is It This Time? Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. And you can have a bit of a laugh with it. Yeah. Yeah. And then it happened again. And then it happened again where it was just like, come on, man. Like, this is like, it's not that a coincidence don't happen twice.
It's as simple as this. If you can do it for white people, you can do it for black people. 100%. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
And I refuse to believe you just don't care. I don't think it's that. I think it's because black outrage is one of the most lucrative things for them. Go in. Like, let us be mad about anything. We share this thing. They don't, as I said, they don't care how we share it and why we share it. Just that we share it. Yeah. And if it means that I gotta, you know, put you next to Stormzy and say, this is Stormzy. So be it.